Before this trip, I had been to 3 other countries. To England in middle school with my grandparents, to the Basque region of Spain in high school with a friend and her family, and to France for just about 5 hours as a part of that very same trip. Each new place I visited was different from the little suburban New England neighborhood I grew up in, and each in its own unique ways. This trip to Brazil, though, was like stepping into another world entirely. Rio de Janeiro was unlike any city I have ever been to. The second we stepped off the plane, felt the heat, and heard the bossa nova music playing in the airport, I knew I was going to be in for a truly singular experience. It was a big change, but to my surprise, I didn't really experience all that much culture shock. The closest thing to a shock was having to adjust to not being able to flush the toilet paper. I didn't experience any homesickness either, and I think that this was due to the fact that the entire city was so warm and welcoming to us. Yes, we still had to mind ourselves as outsiders, but we were safe. None of the fears from back home of violence or crime were ever actualized. I've always thought of myself as someone who goes with the flow, but if anything, this trip has proven to me that nobody knows how to go with the flow like the Cariocas. For a week, we got to step into that same laid-back lifestyle. There were some bumps in the road, and I don't mean the potholes. But no matter the weather, no matter how our schedule changed or where we ended up, I found myself swept up in the beauty of Brazil. I kept thinking to myself, one moment after another, I can't believe I'm really here. We visited different sites, both religious and tourist, and something in between. Christ the Redeemer on Corcovado is technically a religious icon, but his arms are open not only to all of Rio, but to every visitor from around the world that comes to stand at his enormous feet with a selfie stick. And on the other hand, Sugarloaf Mountain has no religious ties, but it is almost impossible to take in the lush landscape and breathtaking view of Rio from above without feeling that you must be a part of something greater than yourself, whatever that something may be. In Rio, there are a couple different faiths. Roman Catholicism is a big one, and we learned that even people who don't really actively practice religion will still say that they are Catholic. Many are devout, though, and some are as devoted as Bertoldo, who was proud to show us the sanctuary he built to spread the message of peace and faith that he lives his life by. I think the most interesting part of our trip, though, was getting the opportunity to learn about and experience a little piece of Umbanda. The Shamanic religion is like nothing I have ever seen in America. And what makes it so fascinating is how it incorporates Catholicism with both African and indigenous Brazilian religions. They have their Roman Catholic figures, alongside deities called the Orixás that preside over the forces of nature, and spirit guides that the Umbandistas channel to seek advice. We got to participate in a cleansing ceremony, and it was honestly one of those experiences that you can never fully understand unless you were there. The energy in the room was palpable. I felt a sort of pressure in my chest as all of the emotions in the room built up. There were people in our group who said that they aren't religious, but they were moved to tears by it. I think it's fair to say that almost everyone who participated felt something meaningful. I know I personally walked out feeling lighter and more optimistic. To put it into only a few words, this trip has opened me up to a more expressive way of life. From the vibrant artwork that covers almost every visible surface, to the simple kindness of saying bom dia to a stranger you pass on the street, there are a lot of little things to feel lucky for in Rio. I think it has given me a greater appreciation for what I have in my life. I will never forget what our guide Ceci said to us one morning on the bus, and I really think it sums up what I have been able to take away from this trip. Today is a good day. Do you know why? Because we are alive.